Bienvenidos a la República de Gran California, el país del futuro. Greetings from Gran California, the country of the future. And to understand that future, you need to look a little bit in the past. Because the bad news was that in 1848, half of Mexico was stolen and became part of the United States. The good news is that only happened to half of California. Okay, Alta California, which is the U.S. state, was stolen by the United States. Okay, and any attempt to return it to the indigenous people, which had been underway since 1834, went out the window and was replaced by the reservation system. You know that one. Well, half of California didn't fall to the United States, remained Mexican, the Baja Peninsula. Okay, and that was 1848, after our armistice with the United States was replaced by the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, despite the fact that we had been running ourselves for a decade. Well, what became of the two Californias, Alta and Baja? Alta now has a larger economy than Russia. Okay, it's huge. It has as many people as Canada. Across the border that sliced indigenous communities like the Kumai right in two, and you have a tenth that many people, 4 million. It's a desert. And it's like Alta and Baja are both donor states. In fact, there are two Mexican states, Alta, Baja Norte, Baja Sur. And they are looking at, the fact that they are two donor states. Their federal government hasn't done that much for them. Okay. They connected the two in 1973 with a transpeninsular highway you can't go over 60 on without popping all your tires, at least on the Norte side. Sur's a little better, so I hear. Well, they heard that, oh my goodness, an election happened that had some pretty bad results in 2016, and now you want to reclaim California's sovereignty. We've been wanting that since at least 2012 in Baja, okay, because they have a series of corrupt governments and everything like that. And so they says, if you are leaving the United States, take us with you. We're having the same problems. Plus, there's the inequality between the two parent countries that puts us on the back end of everything. We're on the back end of the back end, shall we say. So the promotional video that's playing to my left, you're right, is a promotional video that for the most part was made in Baja by Baja Californians, promoting the idea of putting the Californias back together in what they called, before I did, Gran California. Okay? So we had a ceremony in which this flag was offered and accepted as our national flag for the reunited Republic of Gran California. 1 week later, the governors of the three states, Governor Newsom of Alta, Governor Bonilla, I believe, of Baja Norte, Governor Davis Mendoza of Baja Sur, they get together and they sign a memorandum of understanding that they're going to reestablish the Commission of Californias to go over our common problems. This is a great first step. And it was within a week of our handover ceremony, which was a follow-on itself from recalling the November 3rd Declaration of Independence, where this flag was first flown into battle. Okay? So, now we're in 2020. Things are getting a little squirrely in the U.S., okay? Did I say a little squirrely? Well, what's happening in Mexico? You would expect more. Okay, after all, they had an election too, in which a presidential candidate and his party both won that had been struggling for years. And these were the same, they were struggling against the same folks that the Baha Independence Movement was also struggling against. So they won. And so the folks in Baja are looking at that and says, hey, let's see what happens. Well, okay, what happened? A lot of things. Too many to go into here. But some things that didn't happen. Okay, and some things that shouldn't have happened in their view. The thing that didn't happen was that Baja was starting to get some of the money back that they had been paying in taxes and port fees and everything for the Mexican government. That didn't change. They're still a donor to states, like Alta is a donor one state. Okay, they're still donors, and they're not happy about that. Okay, they want that Transpeninsula Highway fixed, okay, so you can actually go over it. They want some, like rest stops along the way so you don't fall dead asleep because it's longer than Interstate 5 through California, Alta. But there were things that this new Mexican government that's supposed to be, so different, did differently. Well, you may have heard Trump talking about, well, we're going to build a wall and the Mexicans are going to pay for it. Well, it didn't go that way quite exactly, but it did. Because what has happened is that walls have been built along the Mexican borders made of Guardia Nacional, National Guard soldiers, to interdict the indigenous people fleeing from Central America through Mexico into the United States, which is where the forces came that interfered in their countries, which is why they had to get out in the first place. Okay. So they didn't want to stay in Mexico. They wanted to go through. And then, you have this iron curtain at the U.S. and fences and, Migra troops and blah, blah, blah. But you also now have Mexican National Guard troops interdicting them. And they're doing the exact same things to them that Border Patrol was doing to them in the Tijuana River, where they were being beaten and tear gassed. The Mexican National Guard is doing the exact same thing to the exact same people. And they're not happy about it. Of course not. Also, there's an old project to build a railway and a pipeline across the narrowest part, Istmus de Tehuantepec. And damn if the Morenista government, who's supposed to be all for indigenous rights, wants to keep going on that. So they held a consultation that was so corrupt that a Mexican judge threw it out. Okay? So they are continuing the settler colonialism of previous Mexican governments. So the Baja movement, MIBC, is saying that if you do succeed in liberating Alta California from the United States, we want to come with you. Please. So, yes, they are joining our movement to form the country of the future, Gran California, but really, chronologically, historically, we're joining their movement. We're joining their movement. Okay. And we are now a combined movement that flies the same national flag, okay, which is different from the state flags of all three states, which all show this in its origins. And we are saying to the world, no more will the Californias be a colony of anybody, not of the United States of America, not of the United Mexican States, los Estados Unidos Mexicanos. We will never again be a colony. Okay. So I urge you to check out our promotional video. Okay. They talk about that, somewhat decentralism, dividing Gran California into its four natural political divisions. Okay. Alta Norte, that is to say NorCal, Alta Sur, SoCal, and Baja Norte, Baja Sur. They're already divided like that would be. There's four regions. But something we in the Alta California Independence Movement bring that's new to the table is precisely a new federalism that empowers indigenous Californians, that puts them at the table of all our decisions. Okay, we have kind of twin pillars here. Authentic democracy, that even the governor of Baja Sur, Governor Davis, who is from a socially conservative party, PAN, he's saying California has authentic democracy, no simulation. Of course we do. We all vote on legislation. We all have the right to do that. So we have the underpinnings of authentic democracy, but also federalism is a way to protect the prior sovereignty of whoever has it. And in our instance, that is the hundreds of indigenous nations who deserve to have their own branch of government, which, we've called provisionally the California Indigenous Congress, because in Mexico, it's called the National Indigenous Congress. Okay, so we're proposing that to our indigenous nations so that they will never again be a California without them. Next month, April 5th, there will be a parade in East Los Angeles that terminates at Parque Mexico, which is at the tail end of Lincoln Park, or the head end, depending on who you ask. And they will be commemorating the assassination of Emiliano Zapata. They've been doing this every April for the last 26 years. I hope we're there. I'll be there. I hope we're there to give them the good news that the liberation from the United States is closer than they may realize. Okay? All they have to do is fight alongside us to achieve that. Viva Gran California Libre!